Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to invest in crypto. If you've ever wanted to learn exactly how to invest in crypto profitably, then this video is for you. Basically, I'm going to take my years and years of investing knowledge and sort of boil it down to this one single video. It's going to be a completely free course. It will be quite long, but if you want to learn everything you need to know to get started investing in crypto, then yeah, you'll want to watch this video until the end. I encourage you to take out a pen and paper or take notes. Also, feel free to follow along as I actually show you guys how to invest in crypto. I'll take you through my investing apps, show you guys how to buy and sell crypto, as well as a ton of other things. So yeah, just a little bit of background. My name is Charlie. I've been investing in crypto for just about 8 years now. I've made a lot of money by investing in crypto, so I think it's something that you should invest in, especially if you believe in crypto. Just like with all investing, there are some risks, especially crypto. It's more volatile than investing in stocks, but I've made money in both. I think this is an alternative investment that's becoming very, very mainstream. And it's definitely a big bet I'm making into growing my net worth. And I think a lot of you watching this video are also thinking, how can I actually make money with crypto? What should I actually buy? And how do I actually trade in a safe but reliable way? So yeah, I'm gonna cover everything that I know in this video. So let's get started. All right, so what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is basically a digital form of currency. It's currency that's on a blockchain. And you might not know what blockchain is, but we will talk about that in this video. So essentially, you can think of it as like a decentralized, secure, and borderless currency. It's not really subject to what the government says. You can send money from country to country. It's completely decentralized, like I said. And why is it actually valuable? Well, one is there are low fees, right? It depends on the cryptocurrency. It can have very fast transactions. And then most cryptocurrencies, there is some type of limited supply. So for example, with Bitcoin, there's 21 million Bitcoin maximum in the world ever. So you can sort of think of it like a limited resource. Now, just a little bit of brief history. So Bitcoin was launched in either 2008 or 2009, and that was the first decentralized currency. In 2015, that's when we saw Ethereum. This is the second largest cryptocurrency coin project, and this introduced smart contracts, which gave crypto even more use case. And then in the 2020s, right, we've seen a huge boom in DeFi. So this stands for decentralized finance. It's basically a system of financial services that use blockchain technology. We have NFTs, which you've seen. There's Pudgy Penguin, Bored Apes, a lot of these new NFT projects. And we've also seen tons and tons of institutional adoption over the last few years. I personally am quite bullish on crypto. That's why I invest a good amount of money into it. But don't invest just because other people are investing. Invest because you also believe it yourself. So I do encourage you guys, watch this video, do your own due diligence, and make your own investing decisions. So the major cryptocurrencies right now, it's going to be Bitcoin, so BTC. This is basically digital gold. It's like a store of value. And while you can buy things with Bitcoin, most people just use it as like a digital gold or store of value. Ethereum is the second biggest crypto, ETH. With it, we have smart contracts, DeFi, NFTs, Ethereum 2.0. These are all possible because of Ethereum. A majority of my personal holdings are in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I believe in these two projects the most. And I think that's the case with a lot of crypto investors. There's also stable coins. So this could be things like USDT, USDC. These are usually pegged to something and there's less volatility. And it's usually like an intermediary, right? You're not investing in stable coins. You simply have stable coins so that you can actually move money from platform to platform or whatever it is. Then you have altcoins. So these are going to be things that are smaller projects. For example, Solana, Avalanche, all of these are smaller. They are still somewhat well known. But then moving on from that, we have meme coins and very speculative coins such as Doge, Shiba Inu, things like that. These are much higher risk. They're more community driven. And yeah, the price can definitely go up, can go down. It can make you a lot of money. It can make you lose a lot of money as well. So every how to invest in crypto video should definitely talk a lot about Bitcoin because this was the first and still is the largest cryptocurrency. This is the one that most of you guys are probably going to invest in. And so it is definitely important for you to understand what it is. I definitely view it as like a digital gold. It is decentralized and it is rare, right? So basically how it works is it runs on a decentralized proof of work network with a hard cap of 21 million coins. Proof of work basically means that you need to do work to mine Bitcoin. That's why we have all these rigs and companies that have tons and tons of computers and things like that working to solve these equations, algorithms, and then mining these Bitcoin. It gets harder and harder to mine Bitcoin because as you approach 21 million coins, you need to do more work to mine the same amount of Bitcoin. So that's why it's deflationary, and it is also a store of value. I view it as a hedge against inflation. And then if we talk about the adoption and investment possibilities for Bitcoin, it's definitely being increasingly held by more and more companies and institutional investors. So that's actually a really big deal. We have companies like MicroStrategy, even Tesla, they hold a lot of Bitcoin. Now, it is the largest crypto by market share by quite a bit. It's set the foundation for decentralized digital money. And whenever Bitcoin goes up, usually the whole market goes up. Whenever it goes down, usually the whole market goes down as well. Okay, so next up, we need to talk about Ethereum. This is also the coin that you guys are probably going to be investing in too. This is the second largest crypto platform. And unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum is a programmable blockchain that supports smart contracts and decentralized applications. So there's actually a lot more use cases for Ethereum than Bitcoin. Diving a little bit more into this, so Ethereum's fuel is Ether. This is what is used to pay transaction fees, aka gas, on the Ethereum network. And then the reason why Ethereum is so powerful is because it enables decentralized finance platforms. It allows NFTs to be created and other tokens and projects can be built on this blockchain. It goes way beyond payments, so it basically functions as a global blockchain computer. It basically is the industry standard, right? So many altcoins and tokens are built on or inspired by Ethereum, which basically makes it a cornerstone of crypto. So going into a little bit more detail about stablecoins, these are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to stable assets, so often the US dollar. And the whole point for this is to minimize price volatility. You can temporarily put your money into something like Tether or USD coin. It's usually quite stable because it's pegged 1-to-1 to a stable asset. So for example, one USDT is about $1. It fluctuates just a tiny bit, but it's pretty much always that. You might be wondering, why do stable coins exist? Well, they are good for trading, storing value, and moving funds between exchanges and DeFi platforms. So there are two mechanisms in which these are pegged to assets or collateral. The first is you can have reserve assets like money, and the second is you can have backed by crypto collateral. By the way, I hope you guys are getting some value from the video so far. At any point, I know it's quite long, you can skip to any section on this video. We'll have a timeline down below to different time codes. And so if you are looking for something specific, you can absolutely look there. But if you want a comprehensive overview of crypto, this is all stuff that I wish I knew when I first started. It would have saved me so much time and money. Then yeah, I just encourage you to go through the entire thing and just learn that way. Okay, so for altcoins, this is basically any crypto that's besides BTC, Bitcoin. It's a very broad category. It covers platform tokens, utility tokens, governance tokens, and a lot more. I'd say for most people, you don't need to know too much about altcoins at the beginning, but for people that like high risk, this is definitely something you can look into later on. For example, Solana and Avalanche, they basically compete with Ethereum for fast and scalable blockchain solutions. And there's exchange coins like Binance Coin, BNB. It basically powers the Binance ecosystem. There's research-driven blockchains, so Cardano. This one focuses on scientific research and peer-reviewed development. And there's ones that focus on fast bank transfers, so XRP, Ripple. This one's designed for efficient cross-border payments. So yeah, with these altcoins, there's definitely higher potential gains, but there's also a ton of volatility. You can absolutely lose a lot of your money if you invest in altcoins. And talking about losing your money, that can absolutely happen if you invest into meme and speculative coins. So yeah, I've made a lot of money from the meme coins, but I've also lost a lot of money as well. Like I've had some investments go literally to zero, where I put in $10,000 and it literally becomes like $5. So you have to be really, really careful with these, and you really have to monitor them. Just a couple examples. There's Dogecoin. This was created in 2013 as a parody. It basically surged in value due to internet communities and celebrity endorsements. It's still quite big today. There's also Shiba Inu. This one became really big because of the viral meme appeal, and it's also on Ethereum's blockchain. Yeah, like I said, very high speculation. Prices can skyrocket just from social media, but it can also crash just as fast. You can get rug pulled where the whole project goes to zero. And it really is dependent on social media and the community. Guys, I do want to make this emphasis. You do need to invest with caution, especially for something like crypto. Only invest what you can afford to lose, and don't chase hype without understanding the risks. There's a lot of money to be made, but there's also a lot of money to be lost. So these are the top 10 crypto by market cap as of right now. You can see Bitcoin is quite a bit higher in total market cap than Ethereum. We then have Tether, XRP, and then BNB. It's funny because Solana and Dogecoin are on here, and Dogecoin is a complete meme coin, but the market cap is still in the billions. Now, these numbers are likely to change quite a bit because with crypto, it's very volatile. And so yeah, these might not be current prices. Okay, so whenever someone asks me what is the right way to invest in crypto, this is basically what I tell them. First thing is that it's a long-term game. I don't like to day trade. I don't like to get in and out of things because I don't think it's reliable. I don't think it's the right way to do it. And most people that make a lot of money investing, it's because they play the long-term game. Don't invest in crypto just to make some quick money, because if you do, it's very likely that you could lose a lot of your money. Patience is absolutely key when it comes to investing, especially in something like crypto. Volatility is also completely normal, right? It is definitely a more volatile investment than something like stocks. And then if you're emotional, I'd say you should definitely be aware of what you do. Don't panic sell, and also don't chase hype. And you absolutely need to do your research before investing, right? Even if you're investing in just Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's very important that you understand what these actually are. And yeah, the whole thing is do your own due diligence. Let's talk about the different types of investment strategies that people do. The first is dollar cost averaging, DCA. This is basically when you are investing a fixed amount regularly to reduce market timing risk. What this basically means is that you aren't trying to buy things when things are low and selling when things are high. You don't care what the price is. You just consistently invest a fixed amount of money every, let's say, week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it is. This is usually what I like to do, but there's also lump sum investing. So this is a little bit higher risk, but if you have very strong conviction in something, then this is probably going to make you more money than if you were to spread out your purchases over months or years. So yeah, dollar cost averaging and lump sum investing, those are two different strategies for getting into crypto and buying it. You also definitely want to diversify. So spread your funds across different coins and assets to manage risk. This applies to any type of investment. If you have all your eggs in one basket, something can go wrong. That's why I always recommend people, if you want to manage your risk, the more coins or stocks or homes or whatever it is you're in, the more your risk is sort of managed, right? Now, another question I get all the time is how much should I actually invest? To invest responsibly, you should only risk what you can afford to lose. So let's say you lose all your money the next day. Are you going to be okay? If not, then that means you invested too much and you invested more than you can afford. But if it is okay, then that means you did it correctly. What I recommend doing is just start small, right? You don't need to invest all your money right now. You should not do that. Keep crypto at a reasonable percentage of your portfolio. So we hear different numbers all the time. For me, it's about 5 to 10% of my portfolio. For people with a less risk tolerance, it's probably gonna be lower. For people with a lot of risk tolerance, it might be higher. You gotta realize that there are so many other things you can invest in besides just crypto, so don't keep it at just crypto. Now let's talk about tracking your portfolio. So what I recommend doing is you need to track your portfolio even if you do long-term investing. It's obviously not as important, but I still like to check in on my portfolio, see how the markets are doing, and stay on top of things. I use Coinbase and other websites to do this, and I'll show you later on in this video how to do it. If you're seeing that one specific coin is dominating your crypto portfolio and you're like, okay, I should probably diversify a bit, then you can always review and rebalance. You can get into different coins, trade, whatever it is. And then in terms of staying organized, you don't want to lose track of your wallets. So try and keep it to maybe just 3 different wallets max. Anything above that, I find it to be kind of hard to keep track. So now let's talk about where you can buy crypto. And the first is on centralized exchanges. These are the easiest way to get into crypto. What I like to use is Coinbase. That's what I recommend for you guys. I actually have a link down below if you want to get up to $200 of free crypto just for signing up and making some deposits. That's going to be an exclusive link. I definitely recommend taking advantage of it because why not get some free crypto, right? I'll show you later on how to actually use Coinbase to buy and sell your crypto, as well as track your portfolio and do your research. But yeah, it's super easy to set up. They do have KYC, so you do need to give your ID and information like that. These types of centralized exchanges have high liquidity and support. You can do really fast trades. They have customer service, which is great. But the only thing is that the exchange itself holds your funds and not you. So in terms of the pros, right, it's easy to use. You can buy with fiat, which is cash. You can deposit money from your bank account into Coinbase and then use that to buy and sell crypto. There's tons and tons of trading volume, so you can get better prices. And in terms of the cons, you don't have your own wallet. The centralized exchange owns your crypto basically, and it's not your own private keys. There's always possibilities of potential hacks. And of course, there's less privacy, right? So KYC is required. There's also decentralized exchanges, which probably most of you guys won't use. I'd say 99% of you guys watching this video should just use a centralized exchange like Coinbase. It's way easier. And for the type of investing that I recommend to most people, it's going to be completely sufficient. Now, a decentralized exchange uses peer-to-peer trading. So it uses blockchain smart contracts and it gives you full control, right? You can trade directly from your wallet with no central authority. You also get more token access, but you do need crypto to get started, right? You can't put in cash from your bank account. You must already own crypto that you transfer into this account, and it's way less beginner friendly. So it can be pretty complex for most people. But yeah, the pros are that you get full control of your funds, you get greater privacy, you probably get access to more types of crypto and tokens to invest in. But the cons are there's no support, it's irreversible transactions, potentially higher fees, and it's a lot more complex. So again, I don't recommend for most people watching this video, especially if you are a beginner, to invest with a decentralized exchange. If you do though, I have a link down below to Blowfin. It's my DEX of choice. But yeah, moving on, let's talk more about Coinbase. So again, if you use my link down below, you're gonna get up to $200 of free crypto for signing up, or you can scan this QR code on the screen right now from your phone. That will give you the same up to $200 bonus. And I have my phone right here and I have the Coinbase app pulled up. Now I'm gonna show you exactly how to use this app to invest in crypto. So yeah, if you haven't heard of Coinbase, then you're probably living under a rock because it's the most popular app to invest in crypto. So on the top here, that is my balance. We can see the performance of my portfolio by month, by year, whatever it is. Down here, I have my watch list of different crypto that I am watching. So these are all ones that I have invested in the past or are in right now. Here's a cool section that I recommend using, especially if you're trying to learn about crypto. It's the market overview. They have tons and tons of articles here. We can learn more about the market. They also have different leaderboards. So you can see the top gainers in crypto over the last 24 hours, top losers, highest buyer seller ratio, most buyers, of course, that's going to be Bitcoin. And here we have new on Coinbase. So these are going to be the newest coins that are available for trade on Coinbase. So let me show you what it looks like on one of these coins. So let's go with Bitcoin. So up here is the current price, about $85,000. We can look at the price over the last day or week or month. You can see, yes, it has been quite volatile. In the last month, the high has been $99.5 thousand and the low has been $78,000. If we zoom out, you can see pretty crazy just how much this has grown. You can see I currently have $54,000 of Bitcoin within my Coinbase wallet. This is not all of my crypto. I have other wallets. We have my unrealized return, my average cost, and my percent of portfolio. Here we have some of my transactions. And so if I actually want to buy Bitcoin right now, what I'm gonna do is click on this buy and sell button. And you can see there are three different things. There's the buy button, there's the sell button, and there's the convert button. Obviously, if I wanna buy, I'll use the buy button. If I wanna sell, I'll use the sell button. But if I wanna convert one crypto to a different crypto, we can also use the convert button. So let's say I want to buy. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to put in the amount of USD that I want to buy. So let's say I want to buy $100 of Bitcoin. We will pay with my USD wallet that has about $10,000 in it. You can see I've also connected a lot of my bank accounts to Coinbase, so I can actually transfer money into my account directly from my bank accounts. You can even use Apple Pay to do this. If you don't want to buy, let's say, a certain set USD amount, you can click this button right here and we can choose how much actual Bitcoin we want to get. I don't recommend this because it's going to be something quite small. So for example, if I do 0.01 or 0.07, that's already $6,000, right? So usually I'll just buy in terms of USD, let's say 100. I'll click on review order. It's going to give a summary of what I'm about to buy. We have the current price, how much Bitcoin I'm going to receive, and it says I'm going to have this available to trade or transfer instantly. So we can just click on buy now and it submits the order. Now, if you want to sell crypto, it's very similar. We'll just click on sell. We can choose what coin we want to sell. So let's say we want to sell some Bitcoin. Let's say we want to sell 50 USD of Bitcoin. We'll click on review order and we'll click on sell now. Cool thing that I like about Coinbase is that we can set recurring orders. So right now we have it set to one-time order, but if we click on this button right here, we can create a limit order, which is a little bit more advanced. I'm not going to get into that, but it basically allows you to say, I want to pay this price, and it's only going to execute the trade if it gets to that price or better. And we can also create a recurring buy. So if you want to consistently put your money into Bitcoin or whatever coin it is, we can set a recurring buy. It can be daily, weekly, it can be the 1st and 15th of every month. It can be monthly, whatever it is. Let's choose weekly, and we can set, let's say, a $20 per week Bitcoin buy. Okay, if we come to this tab down here, this is the Explore tab. Here's where we can explore new coins, new crypto. One thing I do want to say is with Coinbase, you can put your money into USDC and get currently 4.5% APY. So it's basically like a high yield savings account, which is pretty cool. If you have some money sitting around that you don't want to put into crypto, but you also don't want to lose value to inflation, then this can be a good way to actually make some money from your extra money. This is always going to change, but as of right now, it is 4.5%, meaning for $100, you're going to make about $4.50 per year for putting that money into this coin. So yeah, as you can see, Coinbase is super easy to use. That's why I recommend it to most of you guys watching this video, especially if it's your first time buying crypto. Just make it simple, get that up to $200 of free crypto by using my link. And yeah, let's continue on with the course. So now let's talk about crypto wallets and security. Now there's a common phrase that people in crypto say, not your keys, not your coins. This applies to people that have a lot of crypto. I'd say for most people, if you have under, let's say, $50,000 of crypto, it's completely okay to use centralized exchanges such as Coinbase. But once you get into like the hundreds of thousands of dollars or more of crypto, it can be very good to have your own keys. So you basically want to have your own crypto wallet to store your private keys. And this means that you yourself are in full control of your crypto. If we're talking about wallets, there are two different types of them. There's hot and cold wallets. Now with hot wallets, these are connected to the internet. So this can be Trust Wallet, MetaMask, and it's really convenient. It's basically a browser extension on, let's say, Chrome, but it can be vulnerable to hacks. And then there's also cold wallets. So this is going to be completely offline storage. This could be stuff like Ledger, Trezor, and this is usually safer for long-term holds. So for example, this is a cold wallet. It is a ledger. Basically, I can store crypto in this offline storage device. I can move it from a cold wallet like this to a hot wallet or even to a centralized exchange whenever I want. But yeah, this is the safest way to have your crypto. But for most of you guys watching this video, you probably won't need this, at least not right now. But sometime in the future, you can definitely consider getting something like a ledger. Crypto is definitely vulnerable to hacks, right? We've seen it in the news over and over again. It's very, very important that you guys use a very strong password for your accounts. And it's really important that you enable two-factor authentication. Seriously, don't have accounts without 2FA. You can either use an authentication app like Google Authenticator. You can get even safer with an authentication app that requires a key. Even using your own phone number as 2FA is better than nothing, but it's not the most secure. If you have a private key, never share your seed phrase. So this is basically a bunch of words that if someone knows, they can actually access your crypto. And yeah, like I said earlier, use a cold hardware wallet for extremely large funds and keep your devices and software updated. To avoid scams, I definitely recommend looking out for phishing. That's basically when people pose to be, let's say, Coinbase support or another platform support and they try and get your information. Make sure you're clicking on actual URLs that are not scam ones. And if you get an email, make sure it's actually from the company, even though they are quite good at spoofing emails these days. Ignore unsolicited investment offers. They're likely scams if it's in crypto. If someone that claims to be me comes up to you asking for money to invest in crypto, it's not me. That happens too. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You want to download your wallets and software only from official websites. And then whenever you actually send crypto, it's very important that you triple check the recipient address to make sure you're sending it to the correct address. If you send it to the wrong address or to a invalid address, it's lost. So now let's talk about how you can actually start to earn some passive income with crypto, right? With crypto, you can make money from appreciation, but there's also the ability to put your crypto to work and earn some type of percent on your holdings. So yeah, let's talk about the most common ways people do this. First is going to be staking. And this is basically when you lock up your coins to help secure a network and earn staking rewards. Let's say you stake your coins for 6 months, meaning you can't touch your coins for that long, and then you earn some type of percentage. Usually the longer you stake it for, the higher the percentage. There's also yield farming. So this is basically when you're providing liquidity to DeFi protocols or pools, and then you earn fees or reward tokens. This is a bit more complex, of course. And then there's also lending, right? You can loan out your crypto on platforms to earn interest. And on the flip side, you can also borrow by providing collateral. These all work to generate income, but they each come with their own risks. An example of staking is, let's say you lock your crypto to a proof of stake network like Ethereum 2.0. And in doing so, you receive regular coin rewards. If you want to stake, you can do that through the exchanges. There's also more complex ways to do it, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. And in terms of how much money you can make from staking, it's usually a few percent to maybe the low double digits. It's lower risk, but it is subject to price changes, of course, and there is that lockup period. Now, with yield farming, you can basically earn money by adding token pairs to DEX liquidity pools. And in return, you're basically receiving trading fees and bonus tokens. With liquidity pools, by providing liquidity, you earn LP tokens, which can be staked for extra rewards on platforms like Uniswap, SushiSwap, and PancakeSwap. These usually have higher returns, but there is more risk with it. So yeah, only do this if you really understand what you are doing. And then in terms of lending crypto out, you can lend crypto on platforms and you will earn interest while retaining control through smart contracts. Usually these borrowers will pay interest on stablecoins or ETH deposits. There's also different ways you can borrow crypto, but I'm not going to talk about that too much. And then yeah, in terms of the risks for lending and borrowing, there are rate, security, and liquidation risks. So you definitely want to use trusted platforms. You want to borrow wisely. And of course, you want to do your own research. Okay, let's talk about due diligence because of course this is extremely important. And before you invest, you need to research a project's goal, team, tech, and tokenomics. So what you can do is read the white paper. You can find this online. You can look for active communities that talk about this project. And yeah, if there's a lack of use case or there's a lack of a team or there's not that much information, that is definitely a red flag. In terms of what factors influence the value of crypto, it's really going to depend on the supply, the utility, the adoption, the demand. Of course, there's going to be factors like regulations, upgrades, partnerships, market sentiment, and macro trends. All of these can impact value. So yeah, there's a lot that's out of your control. That is why I just recommend investing long-term. Now let's talk about some of the key metrics that you guys should understand. So there is market cap, there is trading volume, supply, transaction volume, and TVL. Market cap is basically the price multiplied by the current circulating supply. So that's basically the coin's total market value. For trading volume, we typically look at the 24-hour trading volume. So that's basically how much of this coin is traded within a 24-hour period. And it's a measure of liquidity and interest. So if it's a low trading volume, that means not that many people are buying and selling. If it's high trading volume, that means there's a lot of interest right now. A lot of people are buying, a lot of people are selling. If we talk about supply, there is circulating versus total supply. So circulating supply is how much is available right now. And then total supply is the total that will ever exist. So what you want to do is you want to use these metrics to compare different cryptos. So for example, let's say we have a coin with a $500 million market cap. This one might have more room to grow, but it's probably more risk than one with a $50 billion market cap. We also want to consider volume. So a high volume suggests that it's easier to buy and sell without any slippage. It's easier to get in and out of this coin. We can also have a low circulating supply with a much higher max supply. This could mean that there is future inflation. Typically, smaller caps usually have higher risk reward. Crypto that has high trading volume is easier to trade. And then for cryptos with low circulating supply, there's definitely more inflation risk. It's also really important for you to check the community and roadmap for the real value. People don't realize that there are thousands and thousands of cryptos out there. A lot of them are scams. A lot of them have zero use in the real world. And so you have to be extremely cautious. Okay, so let's talk about some of the key mistakes that you can make trading crypto. These are things that I wish I knew when I started. The first is you need to avoid FOMO, fear of missing out. If you experience FOMO, it's very likely that you're going to buy during big price spikes, and that is often going to lead to a loss in value, right? If you follow your emotions, which is basically what FOMO is, it's very likely that you're going to be buying and selling during the worst possible times. Another big mistake I used to do is I would just buy things because other people told me. I wouldn't do my own research. Especially when it comes to investing your own money, you should not just trust random people, right? I also used to invest a little bit more than I should have invested, where when I did lose money, it really hurt. I also used to, believe it or not, trade a lot more. I'd get into things, I'd get out of them. But when you do this, there's more trading fees, there's a lot more risk, and it's not like that long-term investing strategy that I've been really preaching. And of course, never share your private keys. Thank God I've never done this, but yeah, be careful. If you have your own keys, you need to avoid scams. Even if you used a centralized exchange, there's a lot of ways that you can have your money stolen from you. So really take security and safety quite strongly. In terms of best practices, like I said, it's very important that you diversify to manage your risk. Now, I don't want to say that this is investment advice, but if you want to invest into crypto the most safe way, I'd say Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be those anchors. That's what most people should have. That's, of course, what I mostly have in my portfolio. And then you can also invest in some altcoins if you want, or some meme coins. Those are, of course, very volatile, so be prepared to lose all your money. Yes, you will see stories of people making a ton of money from these meme coins, but they got extremely lucky. And the reason for this is because when you make a lot of money on a coin, you have to buy correctly and you have to sell correctly. And so getting both those things right is extremely hard. And most people think they are smarter than other people, that they won't lose money, that they can actually time things better by using their own intuition or knowledge. But the truth is, without a fact, that you are not smarter than the market. It is almost impossible to time things correctly. And most of the time when people try to do this, they will lose money, or they'll make less money than if they had just held the investment for a long time. So personally, I like to use dollar cost averaging. That is how I do it. I don't like to time the markets. I just buy on a consistent basis, investing only amounts of money that I can afford to lose. And I really think long term, right? I don't care what the price is tomorrow or next year or whatever. I only really care about what it's worth in, let's say, 5, 10 plus years. All these assets that I'm holding, I'm gonna hold them long term. I'm not gonna get out of them. I'm not gonna sell if there's a dip. When you trade with emotion like that, that's when you really lose. And then you really need to stay informed, right? So especially with things like crypto that change all the time, it's important to stay up to date on the news, any project updates. And it can also be very useful to be in some of these crypto communities. The more you know about the market, the more prepared you are to see if new projects are coming out, the more bullish you might be for a specific coin. Yeah, staying informed is always better than not staying informed. You'll also want to set a profit-taking and loss-cutting plan, especially if you invest in higher risk projects. Don't just buy things that are super hype, because it's very likely that you don't actually understand them. And it's also very likely that you could panic sell. The more in control you are of your emotions, usually will lead to better investment decisions. That's just what I've seen. And guys, really learn from others, right? You can learn from others' mistakes, watch other videos on YouTube. There are so many resources these days when it comes to learning anything. And yeah, big props to you. You are watching this video. If you've made it this far in the video, then you are already well ahead of most people when it comes to crypto knowledge. So I do want to say, like, props to you. Watching this video this far is actually quite impressive. So just to sort of summarize the main points in this video that you are probably wondering. If you want to get started investing in crypto, choose a trusted exchange. So something like Coinbase, Webull, Binance, Kraken. There are a lot of exchanges out there. You'll want to create an account. It's very easy. You'll complete the verification process, and then you'll deposit funds from your bank account to actually buy crypto. Once you start investing more and more amounts of money, you can start to use a hard wallet, something that is offline. But yeah, really, when it comes down to it, you want to start small, invest amounts of money that you are okay losing, learn from it, and then grow over time. You might have seen a pretty high amount of money in my Coinbase account. It was not always like that. I started small, I started investing more as I made more money. And yeah, it's been, like I said, an 8-year process. In terms of how much money you need to begin, right? You can literally start with as low as $1, $5, $10, $20. It doesn't really matter. Starting off with a small investment like this allows you to learn, and then gradually over time, you can put more money in through dollar cost averaging and grow your crypto portfolio that way. In terms of what crypto you should probably start with, I don't want to give investment advice because I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a dude on the internet that enjoys crypto. But for most people, they're usually going to start off with a Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're more stable. They're more well established. Later, you can explore some of the top altcoins. But yeah, of course, only invest after you do your own research. You also might be wondering, is it too late to start investing in crypto? My answer is no, absolutely not. It's not too late. Crypto is still in early adoption, especially compared to other things. You see constant innovation and growth. There's always changes in this industry, and there's always opportunities. So sort of like the internet in the 2000s, I do think that there is a lot more to come. How do I keep my crypto safe? So security is really, really important. Want to use strong passwords. Never reuse passwords that you use for other accounts. Use a password manager like 1Password. That's what I use. Set up two-factor authentication, of course. Please do that. And then of course use trusted wallets and exchanges like Coinbase. For higher amounts, you can get a hardware wallet. That definitely reduces the risk of hacks. And yeah, just be smart, guys. Don't do things that seem too good to be true. Don't follow the quick money. Don't follow any of those scams. Please be safe when you invest in crypto. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. I know we covered a lot of different things, but hopefully this gave you a broad overview of what crypto is, all the things that you should understand. And of course, the most important part, taking action, right? Taking action and actually investing your money, setting up an account today. This is extremely important because yes, you can watch videos all day long, but until you actually do it and start investing and set up your accounts, then you're just learning and you're not actually doing. And doing is the most important thing. I definitely wish I started investing in crypto and stocks and whatever else earlier. So if there's one thing I can let you guys know, you are on the right track. The fact that you were, searching for videos like this or clicking on videos like this, actually watching them through, it shows that you are dedicated to building your financial success, building your net worth. But yeah, please take action, start investing, because timing the market is impossible, but your time in the market is the most important thing. If you invest consistently and start as soon as possible, it is very likely that you can become a millionaire. Like, I truly believe that. A lot of people think that becoming a millionaire is impossible. With consistency and with some investing smarts, which you guys are learning right now, almost anyone can do it. So yeah, if you have any friends that want to invest in crypto, but they don't know how to do it, send them this video. Feel free to review this video at any time. I know we covered a lot of things. Feel free to skip through it at the different time codes for the different sections. And yeah, if you got some value from the video, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe for more content just like this. I make a ton of videos about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. All stuff to help you live a financially successful life. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.